All right, welcome to this March 24th meeting of the Berkeley Unified School District Personnel Commission. Can we have a roll call vote?
Sure.
Or a roll call, rather.
Chairperson Alford.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Roeder.
Here.
And Commissioner Goldstein.
And Izzy, can you let us know why you're participating remotely? Or whatever, vaguely to your liking.
Sure. No big secret. On Thursday, I'm going to have cataract surgery, and therefore I am not permitted to be in groups.
There you go. All right. We'll turn to public comment. So are there any members of the public participating online who would like to give general public comment? You may raise your hand at this time or in the room. Seeing no hands, we will continue to approval and adoption of the agenda. Are there any modifications needed to the agenda? Commissioner Goldstein?
I would just ask that we pull for discussion items 7H and 7I.
So noted. We'll take those items up. We'll take those items up as our first item, I believe. First two.
Okay. No other items for me.
And Commissioner Roeder?
Those were the same items I wanted to pull, so I'm fine with that.
Can I take that as a motion and second then?
I think so.
All right, and I agree. Next, we'll do approval of the meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, how are we supposed to handle roll call votes? My understanding is that because I'm remote, there has to be a roll call vote.
Yeah, it feels silly because the person, the motion maker, and the seconder plus me is the majority, but let's do a roll call vote on the agenda.
On the agenda?
Yeah, adopting the agenda.
So Chairperson Alford.
Aye.
Vice Chair Roeder.
Yes.
And Commissioner Goldstein.
Aye.
All right. Thank you for your diligence, Commissioner Roeder. On the minutes, are there any? Yeah.
Public comment in the room?
Ed called for it, yeah.
Oh, I must have missed it. I remember you going to those online. But
I asked for in the room, but boy, well, let's go back to that. If you want to give public comment in the room, you can. Yeah.
I just wanted clarity on the reason for the justification, just cause, and whether is it per person? I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Just cause for what?
Just cause for remote. Is it 2 times yearly per person?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sorry, we're having a hard time hearing the public comment.
Oh, if you want to
Might want to move closer
to the thing, but yes.
I'm trying to get clarity on the just cause for remote participation by the chair, by the commissioners, whether it's 2 times yearly per person. And the reason, I guess there's 2 different reasons, whether it's just cause and emergency or.
So the Brown Act allows for, it used to be separate just cause and emergency. It's been combined into one just cause. So if you have a medical reason, you're traveling on official business, there's a number of reasons listed under the Brown Act, and you simply are required to state the general category, and then you can participate remotely twice per year.
And then you guys are tracking that in what way?
I believe the secretary is tracking that.
We haven't had anybody join remotely yet this year.
This is the first time. Okay, thank you for clarity. Thank you.
We'll turn to approval of the meeting minutes. Are there any changes needed to the minutes?
None for me.
And Commissioner Roeder?
None for me either.
Is there a motion on the minutes?
All motion to approve.
Second.
And can we have a roll call vote?
Sure. Chairperson Alford.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Roeder.
Yes.
And Commissioner Goldstein.
Aye.
All righty, we'll turn to our reports. Item 6, we'll start with a report from the union. Is there a member of any labor groups that wish to give, and you're speaking for local 21. All righty. Go ahead. Can you come and sit here just for this one, just because?
Paul Phillips, chapter president for Local 21. As you all know, the district has approved the resolution for classified layoffs. And here we are again with budget cuts. There are at least 10+ members of Local 21 who received layoff notices, even though they're not final. I would just hope that the commission would also do its part, because your budget, you're reviewing your budget, the commission will do its part in participating to budget cuts in any way, shape, or form. There was back and forth dialogue last year, and you all did make decisions that were favorable. And I say this because there's a committee out in the public who are proposing a measure to eliminate the personnel commission by a vote of the public. And so that's concerning for the employees of the school district, because the commission is here to protect them and to serve them, and also work with the district. Albeit that it hasn't been the most wonderful relationship in the past, I would hope that the commission will do whatever it can to prevent this from happening, because it's very important that the classified employees have a commission. And as a previous employee of the district or of the commission, I see the value in having a commission. And as in my personal capacity, I support the commission wholeheartedly. But I have seen over the years where the commission budget has increased astronomically. And those forces, I believe, are out there trying to eliminate it for that reason. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. And, you know, we will be talking about the budget later and we'll take more comment then. But we are certainly very cognizant of the financial pressures the district is facing, and we're looking at everything we can do to make sure we're saving costs where we can. So comment is appreciated. Are there other unions that would like to give comment? I'm seeing Frank for BCCE.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I just want to throw out there that last night at midnight, BCCE ratified our contract 25 through 28. So the vote came through and it was a yes vote. So we have a new contract, 3-year contract. And
Congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, and I just want to say thanks to the negotiating team, BCCE's negotiating team. They worked very hard to, we've been in negotiations for like, I think 10 months this year. So it's been a long negotiations, and just want to say thanks to the negotiating team and everyone else who's played a part in this and everyone who voted. So thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Thanks.
Any other unions wishing to give comment at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll turn to district report. Are there any representatives of the district who wish to make a report? Well, seeing none, commissioners. Do any of my fellow commissioners like to give a report?
Oh, since he has his hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Roeder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I want to add my congratulations to BCCE and to the district for having reached a contract agreement. It's always a difficult time for that, and with our budget situation as it is, making it even more difficult. And as some people correctly at school board meetings have said, the real answer to this is at the level of the state of California. And I think all elected officials, all unions, all members of the public, stakeholders who care about education need to urge the governor and the legislature to fully fund public education, because every single year we're faced with higher costs and less money to educate our children and to pay our wonderful employees. So that's my stump speech on that score. And I do want to agree with Ms. Phillips on both of her scores. One is that the Personnel Commission does need to participate as best as it can in whatever means that we have for reducing our costs going forward without reducing the services that we provide for the classified employees as well as to the district. And then lastly, also agree and thank Ms. Phillips for her comments about the usefulness and importance of maintaining the Personnel Commission. And as I've said, since this has come up, I personally would do everything that I'm called upon to do to be sure that the Personnel Commission does continue to exist to serve the classified employees and the district. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Roder. Commissioner Goldstein.
Thank you. A brief and short report. I also want to congratulate BCCE on coming to contract. 10 months is a long time to negotiate. So well done and good perseverance. I attended the California State Association Personnel Commissioner Association Conference last week. Goodness, it seems like forever ago. And I found it extremely useful. I found one of the through lines at the conference actually was talking about the value of commissions. So, this pressure across the state of California, whatever the reason that school districts are having funding concerns. Some funding concerns certainly are, could the state be doing better? You bet. Some are structural concerns that are due to lawsuits and other expenses or programs that school districts have. And I recognize those are very hard to reconcile and make cuts to. And I think that's probably a lot of what BUSD faces. I'm sure that our commission will participate in the SBAC talks to hear and understand what those issues are. I agree with Commissioner Roeder. We provide a set of valuable services to a base of classified employees here. And we run pretty tight and we run pretty lean. And our budgets over the years have reflected that. There hasn't been fat in our budgets. And we'll continue to do that this year. Thank you.
Yeah. I also attended the conference when we were traveling buddies. I managed to make it through mostly unscathed.
I got sick actually.
So I take it back. One of us was unscathed. Yeah, the conference was great. And as always, I think it was my second time attending, and the presentation by the legal counsel about the updates to state law and the new lawsuits or the new kind of court cases that have shaped state law was very informative. And some changes to the things, minor, but it's significant changes to the legal landscape. And yeah, and certainly I appreciate the comments as well. And we'll talk more about it during our budget discussion, our very preliminary budget discussion. But at this point, I just add, we certainly need to do everything we can to help. Well, also we should acknowledge that our budget is a rounding error in the budget for the district, and that the work that we're doing needs to be done, whether it's here in the commission or in HR, right? So, as the budget of the commission has grown because the work of the commission has grown. And so I hope that we can find ways to save money that also recognize that any cuts to things that impact hiring will impact hiring. Kind of it's a redundancy, but I think it's worth staying. So anyway, we'll turn to the director for her report.
Okay. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. So I'll just begin with an overview of the personnel activity report brought forward this month for the month of February. Our PC team is always keeping very busy. Since our last meeting, we've established 7 new eligibility lists, and the commission administered 172 exams in February, and we averaged about 9.5 exams per day. Also, with the support of our HR colleagues, we've had 12 new hires and 2 promotions. We also held our 3rd meeting of the IA SPED Staffing and Recruitment Committee. So as you know, this includes participation from the SPED department, HR, and then BCCE leadership as well. So, this month, it was held earlier this month, in preparation for the meeting. We worked closely with the SPED team and we mapped, the full process from when the moment a student need is identified to when an IA is assigned or contractor is called. We also discussed how to determine when an assignment should transition from temporary to permanent, and then how to streamline that process so then PC and the HR departments can recruit and staff those positions more effectively. So we had a really informative discussion. There was a lot of valuable insight that we all got about the SPED process that we were not aware of. And then we also kind of cleared up the process for how new positions should be generated. So at our next meeting, we're going to focus on the position approval process, including the PAF requirements, and also begin discussions around recruitment. And I have provided a summary for your review. I'll be attaching it to the agenda when we post it at the meeting, but you should all see this chart right here. And so just to highlight some of the changes for this month, or at least since our last meeting, we've had 11 new hires from the last time we checked in the IA2 SPED classification. We have 12 individuals currently onboarding right now, 12 IAs, and then 3 separations. We also reduced the number of contractors from 41, sorry, from 44 to 41. And given the increased number now of new positions that the board established, we have 47 vacancies still to fill. So that's going to be our goal as a PC team to, you know, we already have a fair and ACOE fair we're attending this month, recruitment fair, and then kind of going to start discussing when we're going to be able to hold our next recruitment event. So, and then just to briefly mention that I too was able to join Heidi and Solly at the CSPCA conference. There were some great sessions, including a lot of those legal updates to think about. And, you know, it was great also to see some of the union leaders there as well. And then,
Erin, before you go on, can I just ask for a reminder on one thing?
yes,
In this chart, new hires versus currently onboarding are unique counts, right?
Yes.
No overlap. Thank you.
yes,
Okay, so there's
separate.
23
In the pipeline.
in the
Yeah,
pipeline.
so-
Yeah.
Well, no, so the 11 are already hired.
Mhm.
They're not in the pipeline anymore.
And 12.
And then the 12 that are
In the
process
pipeline.
are in the
Okay,
pipeline.
great.
Yeah,
But in the month, kind of 23 people have transited
yes,
through the pipeline to one degree or
yes,
another. Got it.
from the last time we checked in.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
And then also, as you all know, the resolution that was approved by the board on March 4th. And it authorized the potential layoff of 122 classified positions. And then there were a total of 127 employees that received layoff notices. Because that includes those that could potentially be bumped.
Mhm.
And then about 18 employees that were identified as probationary employees in that category. So yesterday, Assistant Superintendent of HR, Samantha Tobias, and I hosted an informational webinar for staff that are affected. We reviewed the layoff process, explained what employees can expect, discussed seniority, and clarified who received notices, what kind of notices went out, and outlined options, and emphasized the deadlines. So we are definitely here to continue supporting our impacted staff throughout this process. And I'll be providing more updates as more information becomes available. Also want to congratulate BCCE as well for signing their TA. I have seen them working tirelessly to get this done in the last couple of months, so it's a great accomplishment for them. And then I also would like to take a moment to introduce our new staff, Zara Aziz, who's joining us today. She is actually working for the PC and HR, so wanna have you all meet her, right? A face to the name, and yeah. And that pretty much concludes my report. I don't know if Sarah wants to say
Hello,
hello.
everyone. I'm glad to be here and excited to see where this goes. So nice to meet everybody.
Happy to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Erin, can I ask you I want to make sure I heard the numbers right. The number of positions that the board resolution included was 122,
Yes,
and the number of notices sent was 125,
127.
127. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Izzy.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, in no particular order. One, I was sorry to have missed the Personnel Commission conference that was held. I was scheduled to go, but because of my cataract surgery, I was unable to attend. So I've attended one in the past, and it was very informative. The other thing is I want to, number one, compliment our executive director for, I think, the excellent meetings that she has convened for the SPED IA committee. They have been extraordinarily useful. They've had participation from the district and from the special education department and HR and the Personnel Commission. And as Erin said, they have included lots of information and lots of areas where we can make improvements going forward. So my hat's off to Erin for that. Well, and as you all know, I am the designated commissioner who participates in those meetings, for anyone who doesn't know that. Then, and I sort of have been talking about this at the last few meetings and want to reiterate it. Now I'm doing this from memory. I think all of you, I think, have a chart that shows the SPED, IA hires and activity and all of that. I don't have one of those, but I did see one at our last meeting. And my issue continues to be, intuitively, it looks to me like there are way more new hires than there are reductions in contractors. And at the last SPED committee meeting, I did, on the back of an envelope, calculate all the columns for new hires and then compare that to all the columns for contractors and subtract our current contractors from the contractors at the beginning of the period. And there were, again, I'm doing this from memory, well over, okay, I see we have the contractor tracking report. Can you go down a little bit, Sarah? Yeah, the in use. We started with 58 in use, and we now have 41 in use, so that's a reduction of 17. But if you go up to the new hires, and you have to use your calculator to add all those together, they're a lot more than 17. And I understand, as Samantha said, it's a moving target, and there are new students who require an IA SPED during the course of the year, and some fall off, and there's a few separations. But it just seems to me that this chart is not reflecting all of the contractors that we have replaced. And I know that staff is looking into that, and I would be, again, real interested in knowing what the answer is to that. And maybe it's fine. Maybe the chart is accurate. Anyway, those are my 2 cents on that. And I guess finally, I'm glad to hear that Aaron is considering another job fair sped and before and after school program job fair, professional job fair, because I see that our eligibility lists, they were fantastic beginning when we had our first job fair and then our second job fair and then a few more months after that. But the number of applicants on the eligibility list has fallen off. And I think, yeah, we need to continue the momentum for recruiting SPED IAs. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Aaron, did you want to respond to any of that in terms of the numbers?
Yeah, I'm still also a bit confused about why those numbers don't match up, like as far as, because Izzy mentioned the amount of new hires, we have like 60 new hires from October till, today. I sped new hires. Not that much turnover, or separations. And why that number hasn't gone down for contractors is kind of a mystery to me as well.
Do we have, could we add to the chart for contractor tracking, new contractors per month?
New contractors, I don't know if we are, it might be a little tougher to get the new contractors, highlighted. I can ask the SPED department, since they're the ones that are making contractor assignments, and try to see if we can account for how many new contractors come in every month.
I think if I understand right, Aaron, that where you get the source of each of these lines. At the top, the new hires, the separations currently onboarding, those are, we source those numbers. Those are from the PC.
Yeah.
The contractor tracking numbers are sourced through HR, right?
HR and special ed.
Okay, so this is somebody else's reported activity, which I think is the problem with understanding new contractors hired and new vacancies. Because from different places to these two different departments, different requirements come in during the month.
Yeah.
And I think when we get the counts, it is what it is. If in the end, the end of February, the vacancies were 56, that's because that's what SPED counted that month. If at the end of this month, they are 47, again, it's because it's what SPED counted. The act of coming together before these monthly meetings is in itself, I think, a good accountability structure, because I'm sure part of what you wind up discussing is what happened. Kids moved away, or, the requirement evaporated, or, what have you, right?
Reviewing, this is just like a summary page, but we actually have like a a proper track.
I realize.
A lot of
yeah.
information, so reviewing that is part of our committee meeting. It's like an ongoing item
Right,
and a recurring item in our committee meetings, and so, I want to say that Izzy might have asked this question at our last committee meeting.
I think it comes up every meeting.
Yeah, at our
And-
committee meeting as well. And it is something that we are trying to figure out because there's something that's not matching up.
So what I think makes sense is let's not chase precision where we can't get it. You know, if they're numbers that we don't source, we've got to go back to the others who do source it and have them explain it, you know, and I think in your meetings, that's what you're trying to do. And I'm pretty satisfied with that right now. Mostly because when I look at, you know, the unaccounted positions was really my biggest concern.
Yeah.
You know, by and large, I'm sorry to see the number one up again, but you know, okay, you know, we may hover, you know,
Yeah, those are
across
brand
that. But, you know, that is sort of the single most important line to me in this report. So I guess what I'm saying is good work. And let's not kill ourselves trying to go after false precision.
Yeah.
With the things that we don't control.
As long as the number keeps going down. Number go down, good.
Yeah, for like under 5 days.
All right, well, if there are no more questions there, we'll turn to our consent calendar, which consists of, at this point, we've removed item H and I, the two-step advance request, so it's now the, just the eligibility lists. Are there any questions, comments, or motions on the consent calendar?
You mean just the eligibility lists?
Yes.
That remain?
Mhm.
Yeah. Nothing I. So necessary.
Commissioner Roder?
I'm fine with those eligibility lists, so I second.
Will you make the motion?
Yeah, I'm getting pointed to. I'm happy to make the motion. All right, so I motion that we approve items 7A through G, which are the various eligibility lists.
And Commissioner Roder seconds, and I, can we have roll call?
Chairperson Alford.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Roder,
Yes.
Commissioner Goldstein.
Aye.
Alrighty,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Paul Phillips, Local 21, and I haven't paid attention to, sorry to say, but I haven't paid attention to the commission's packets in a while. I'm trying to understand why there are two separate lists for instructional special ed, IA special ed.
Yeah,
They're
so
not combined lists.
because of the high rate of vacancy, there is no, the rankings are not relevant as long as there's the number of vacancies that would, go ahead.
No, that's part of the answer. So we are trying to show, how many recruitments we're running. And so since now we're running these recruitments every 2 weeks, we're listing out the recruitments separately so that it's a little more transparent. So they're being run 2 weeks apart now and generating a new list every 2 weeks. And everybody is getting a job offer currently right now as the process has been streamlined. So in the past, we would like merge those lists, you know, and then have like asterisks when different people would, you know, expire from the list. But since now everybody is getting a job offer, there's really no need to merge the list. And we want to just make it more transparent how many recruitments we're running every month. So
Is that something that's in the ed code where you don't combine the list and,
I think ed code is sort of silent.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
I think ed code is silent on that. I don't know that there's guidance one way or the other.
but the central hiring part of the. I know the commission has moved to central hiring. And I say this because it's been a problem for our coordinators in that when there's central hiring, I feel, and I've seen where the list, the eligibles that are on the list, they get more, they're manipulated more as opposed to the district going down the list, a combined list, and hiring from the combined list with the top 3 ranks for the first position and then going
Right.
down the list.
which would make a difference if we weren't giving everyone an offer. Every single person who's testing through is getting an offer because of the number of vacancies.
But where that matters is when it comes to seniority. When it comes to seniority, it matters because there are staff who may be further down the list who get selected out of the central hiring versus going through the list and hiring according to the ranks.
So
So
when you say central hiring, help me understand.
I
she can explain that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's actually, it was an arrangement made between HR and special ed
Mhm.
because of the bottlenecks around hiring candidates on the list. They decided to centralize hiring. And so they worked together to like list out priority sites that are in more need and then make job offers to everybody on the eligibility list. So
so that when we make a job offer, so that I understand it, HR still makes the offer,
yes,
okay? So central hiring didn't change who makes the offer,
that's right.
all right. We offer in the priority of the sites that need the support. Okay, so the offer is specific. I'm asking you, Jane Doe, to come work at site X,
That's
right? Okay. And that hasn't changed from the way we have hired in the
No,
past, right?
prior to that, the list went to the hiring manager. And then the hiring manager made a recommendation, submitted paperwork to HR, but HR always made the job offer.
Right, so what has changed here is bypassing the hiring manager. HR makes the offer, and the hiring manager is told, and I guess this is the question. HR makes an offer to Jane Smith for site X.
Yeah.
And Jane Smith accepts. So HR says to the site manager at site X, Jane Smith is coming to work here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, HR will confirm when onboarding has been completed, which, you know, as we all know, can take some time.
Right,
And that's when they confirm to the site. You know.
okay. So is that what you're talking about? That
Yes.
the hiring manager is bypassed?
Yes,
Okay.
because that hasn't worked in the recent past for the coordinators with their staff. Because there's been turnover with the instructional technicians because they weren't a good fit for a number of reasons. It could be because they weren't a good fit for that site, or they just weren't a good fit at all, meaning experience wise.
Mhm.
And so, I've been informed of two situations specifically this year where the hiring manager was bypassed and the central hiring, whoever was over that process, placed staff at the site, and then they ended up being released. So it's not working for the learns coordinators with the central hiring.
So this is, all right,
I'm gonna stop us because this is beyond the scope of the item. So the item is just
Yeah.
the lists themselves. And
Right.
we're not really, it's not, central hiring is not on the
I get
agenda.
that, but this, not having the list combined.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a new thing. I don't know if this is something that.
We've been doing it for a while now,
Okay, like I said, I had not paid attention to it for a while,
right?
but now that I'm the local 21 president, I'm paying attention to it.
We understand.
And this is something that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, we understand, I mean, you know, I understand the concern around the seniority. I think the question is, what is the most important thing? And what we've decided in coordination and conversation with the district and with BCCE is the most important thing is speed of hiring.
So,
At this
so
point.
I guess my question to the commission, is this a practice that is done in other districts?
The centralized hiring piece.
No, this part about
Multiple
Oh.
lists.
separate lists, multiple lists.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any districts that are doing 2 recruitments in a month, like where they have to, you know, where they're moving the recruitment that quickly. We just started doing that a couple months ago when we had this ISPED situation and this IT situation, but I do think that some will not merge lists. They don't all merge lists. I know some districts do not merge lists. They just all have different expiration dates.
So instead of calling it continuous hiring, and I hear your exhaustive sound. But open and continuous, you've moved to change it to something else now, is what it sounds like. Instead of saying open and continuous, you're calling it a whole separate recruitment.
I think it's still open and ongoing because we're always open.
it's two concurrent, open and continuous recruitments is the way I've always understood it.
Okay.
And I think what I'm just confused about it, and we can shake it up a different time. When I look at these lists show open improvements, right? Is there another list that sits around somewhere that
No,
has
it's not
promotional?
for promotional, if there was a candidate that, that participated in a recruitment at the same time period, then we would list them out separately on the same list as promotion.
That's what I thought,
Yeah,
right, so
we just have
these are all,
Not
Oh.
on this month, no, we haven't had
Okay.
any promotional candidates.
okay,
I'll
Yeah.
set up a meeting separate with, Erin.
Yeah.
To get a better understanding of this.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like a good
I was
idea.
gonna say that, Paula, we
Right.
can talk about that, and I know with the IT situation, we're gonna might change that in the near future. Yeah.
Just a last question here, just to understand something. I think the story that Paula was trying to tell us was that we had some fallout because something was not a match, right? We lost a placement. Is that?
They were released, they were pro-released.
They were pro-released, okay, because they didn't
Had
work
some
out.
turnover,
Okay,
there's
all
more
right.
turnover in the IT classification than in the IA.
Okay, got it. And it was IT specific.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right. That was consent. We'll turn to discussion items, starting with item H, which is step advance request for S pool. Is that person present?
She was here, but she had to go.
Okay, well, we'll take it up.
So this item is a request for step advancement for Shabana Bull. Ms. Bull brings several years of experience in education, including serving as a teacher and a school administrator, as well as experience in higher education as a teaching assistant while completing her master's degree. So her background reflects strong skills in working with students and supporting educational environments. So consistent with the commission's approved rubric and given the ongoing recruitment challenges in this IA2 SPED classification. I'm requesting approval for step advanced placement at step 5.
Any questions or comments from commissioners?
I do have just maybe a general question, and it really is not pertinent to my decision, but I am just wondering. So this is someone with amazing qualifications for an I2 SPED, we're very well educated, and probably more has been teaching adults, at the second or the higher ed level. And what it is making me wonder is if we are also seeing a dynamic here of parents of students who are ISPEDs who put in, because this sure looks like that to me, and it's immaterial in terms of my decision or my vote. I think it's a good thing. And I'm just wondering if you are seeing, without necessarily speaking to this particular individual, are we seeing that trend?
Oh, yeah, and you totally nailed it. This
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
parents. And so, but yeah, we have been seeing that trend. A lot of our applicants, if they're not contractors, they're definitely connected to the school community
Mhm.
that they're applying for, so,
Right. That makes for a very tight community.
yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Oh, Izzy has his hand up.
Go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
do. Thank you. Well, it's the same issue that I have brought up in the past on these. On this particular one, what I noticed was that Ms. Gull had requested a step 3 step advance, and Aaron has used the rubric and calculated a step 5 advance. It's unfortunate. I guess I'm not seeing her on the list of remote speakers or participants, but I was going to ask her why she chose step 3. My concern, as it was in the past, is that we are dealing with difficult budget times. And so I find it difficult to agree to a higher, and in this case, substantially higher step advance than what the applicant is asking for. And in this particular case, again, Ms. Gull appears to be phenomenally qualified for this position. I have no doubt about that. But her prior experience in teaching was, if I understood it correctly, as a homeroom teacher, an English teacher, possibly a business and commerce teacher, not really dealing with children with special education needs. And I saw that Erin gave Ms. Gull, I think it's, now I have to go back to this chart, 4 years. Let me look here. Yes, 4 years of credit, even though she had been working for something like 8 or 9 years. I'm curious from Erin how she chose 4 years rather than the 8 or 9 years. And secondly, I have a hard time agreeing to a step 5 if she asked for a step 3. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so I did speak to Ms. Gold, and she explained to me that that the experience she held as a teacher at the Education Gate and Castle International Schools, that was in multiple grade levels. And so I believe it spanned from first grade to through high school. And so I did not, I included for 8 years, but I just rewarded 4 steps because that's the most that can be rewarded for the step advance. Also, as far as the request, she somehow received the older form, which I believe we were no longer going to be using anymore. I think there was some disconnect at one of the, I don't know, I think some of the candidates were given the older form.
It's hard to kill an old form.
Yeah, and so we're trying, but as we discussed, we decided to update that step advance request form so that the candidates don't ask for a step. They just ask for the step advance, and then we determine the steps based on their education and experience.
Commissioner Roder, did you want to?
Well, you did explain, Aaron, I think why you came up with 4 years, because that is the maximum that I guess you would have come up with 8 years if there were 10 steps or something along those lines. But that makes perfect sense. My other concern is one purely of fairness. I mean, I have a difficult time in general with step advances. I understand why we need them. And we don't pay up to par, and we have a difficult time recruiting for these positions. But having someone who is a current employee being at step 2 or 3 or something like that, with a number of years in the district, and then being leapfrogged by a new employee with a step advance, doesn't sit all that well, just from a fairness standpoint, although I understand why we do it. So that's all.
All right. That being said, are there any other points of discussion, or is there a motion on the item?
I don't have any.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll motion that we go ahead and approve at the director's recommended step 5.
And I will second. And can we have a roll call?
Sure. Chairperson Alpert.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Roder.
Abstain?
Commissioner Goldstein.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We'll now turn to step advance request for C. Largo.
Okay, so this item is also a request for step advance for Claudia Largo. Ms. Largo brings nearly 4 years of directly related experience supporting students in public school settings, including students with special needs. And her background includes instructional and behavioral support, small group and one-on-one assistance, and experience working in bilingual environments. And then consistent with, as we discussed, our rubric and the recruitment challenges, I'm recommending advanced step placement at 5.
I'll turn it over to Commissioner Roder. This is the same as the last one. There's a different request.
Yeah, she's phenomenally qualified. And we're very happy to have Ms. Largo with the district, and she's going to make a great sped IA. I don't know why she chose or circled step 2. But nonetheless, based primarily on budgetary concerns and fairness, I'm going to abstain on this one as well.
All right. Ms. Foster, the comment.
I have no additional comments other than to say, great experience and happy to have candidates like this interested in us.
I did ask her, it's full-time experience. So.
Okay, thank you. I know you appreciate that.
And I should ask, is Claudia present on Zoom?
Not that I know of.
All right. Is there a motion?
Sure, I'll go ahead and motion that we approve item 7I as our executive director is indicated at step 5.
5 seconds. Let me have a roll call.
Yes, Chairperson Alford.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Roder.
Abstain?
Commissioner Goldstein.
Aye.
All right. That takes us through, those were the last 2 items from consent. We'll now turn to our 2 discussion items. We have an agenda request from M. Ferguson.
Yes, so this item is a discussion brought forward, agenda item request brought forward by Marie Ferguson. She's currently the school, she has a very long time school administrator assistant 2, substitute specialist at Berkeley High. Ms. Ferguson has requested a review of her current classification and salary placement. She believes, or at least she mentioned to me, that her position may not accurately reflect the scope and the level of her current duties and her responsibilities. She has provided supporting documentation, speaking to the evolution and the role, in the role that she's currently in. And so Ms. Ferguson is here, so she may have something to share. And yeah,
All right.
would you like to speak, Ms. Ferguson?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Here, I'm at the top. Okay. I'm gonna read a speech that I wrote into the minutes. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Marie Ferguson, and for the last 9 years, I've had the privilege of serving the Berkeley High community. 7 of those as a school administrative assistant, 2/substitute specialist, due to a reclassification in 2019 when the management of the substitute employees was acknowledged. I'm here to formally request a reclassification. I spent nearly a decade here because I deeply value the professional growth I found at Berkeley High and remain fully committed at our school's success. However, I am here today to formally request a review of my current salary and job classification. Over the years, the reality of my daily work has shifted far beyond my original job description, and I believe it is time my compensation reflects the level of responsibilities I now carry. The most significant turning point occurred in July 2023. At that time, there was a major process shift in the admissions office. I was assigned to take over the 9th grade registration workflow, a process previously managed entirely by admissions. I now directly manage the end-to-end enrollment for all families. This change has been vital because it reduces administrative friction and creates a much smoother transition for our students. Furthermore, the enrollment process for BTA, BIS, and HHI changed. Families no longer go through admissions, but register directly with Berkeley High through me. I've effectively taken on a role that ensures no student falls throughout the cracks during these critical transitions. Beyond enrollment, my technical responsibilities have expanded significantly. following a restructuring of the online registration, which we called it OLR, the rollover process. I took on a high-level duties that were previously handled by technology department. Today, I am the sole lead for all high school enrollment, registration, and transfers for the entire district. This means I personally manage the placement of 800 to 1,200 new students annually. Those are students new to BUSD. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Students annually across 4 distinct channels, including our digital OLR system, which serves over 500 students each year. I'm performing the work of the school administrator 3 and the student admission specialist simultaneously. Yet my classification has remained stagnant since 2019. I take great pride in being the foundational point of contact for our families, but the high volume and complexity of this workload have reached a point where immediate rectification is necessary. Based on a thorough review of the expanded duties, I'm formally requesting a reclassification to range 56, step 5. This is a market line adjustment that acknowledges the sustained high-level performance I provided for years. I want to continue contributing to Berkeley High success, and I believe this adjustment is fair and long overdue. Step towards ensuring my role is accurately recognized. Thank you for your time and considering this request.
Thank you for your comments. I understand that there's not necessarily any action that we should take. That this is the process that the staff will come back to us with an analysis.
Yeah, because last time when we talked about reclasses, the direction from the commission was just that we make it a discussion item, just inform the PT that we were going to move forward with, engaging with the employee in a reclass.
And you would do, what that engagement looks like is desk audit. Yes,
Perfect. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Do you have a timeline?
So it has to be done within 6 months, for the BCCE contract. I would like to get them done sooner. I currently do not have a timeline, for this particular, reclass, only because, we're currently dealing with a lot of.
It comes at a very busy time.
Yeah,
And that's sort of why I'm
But the
asking.
good thing is that Ms. Ferguson is a 12-month employee,
Mhm.
and so we definitely will be able to, meet in the next couple of weeks, and if it continues into the summer, I know she'll be available to get it done.
Uh-huh.
So
And will you be able to, in doing a desk audit, observe the additional duties that she's described?
I would think so, because I think a lot of those duties fall on her desk in the summer. But she has her hand up.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Ferguson.
I want to explain to you guys when a desk audit is done, it has to be done more than 1 or 2 days. There's no way possible that the scope of the work that I do can be done in 2 days, because Charlie did the desk audit previously. He did not see me doing the sub piece. I'm currently doing 3 different positions, and a desk audit is not going to caption that for 1 to 2 days. I may deal with the sub specialist part anywhere from 1 hour to an entire day where I have to fill positions. Partial days, full days, be it I have to call people on cell phones, text, G-chat. That's one aspect of it. And then I have to do the registration. I have 4 different registrations. So you need to spend really good time with me so you can get a real good overview of what I do. I'm the only person here at the high school since 2017 doing the enrollment. And I have absolutely no help.
I agree with Ferguson. We don't want to limit it to just 1 meeting.
Yeah, we appreciate
Right.
the context, and
Yeah.
that is the analysis will include that context.
I wanted that to go on record.
Thank you.
It's there.
All right, is there any other comment? Go ahead, Commissioner Roeder.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just want to say that during my 5 years so far on the Personnel Commission, Ms. Ferguson has appeared before the commission in the past, and based upon what we have determined in the past and also on the letters of recommendation that are in the packet today. I just want to acknowledge the tremendous gratitude that we all have for Miss Ferguson and for the job that she is performing. And she gets incredibly important recommendations and references, both from the Berkeley High principal and the Berkeley High vice principal. And I would hope that, Aaron, when you do the desk audit, as part of it, you would also interview the principal and vice principal about the jobs that Miss Ferguson is performing. And I guess this is a question for Aaron. If it turns out that as a consequence of your desk audit, you determine that she is providing services that are over and above what is currently in her job description, would you then be looking at the possibility of modifying her job description or putting her into a different classification if it's appropriate, or creating a new classification for the job that she's performing? And then, of course, the idea is that pay is to be commensurate with the work performed. So I'm just a little bit, I'd like Erin just to spend just a minute explaining what she's going to be looking at and for during the course of the desk audit.
Yeah, so Izzy, all of those possibilities are potential outcomes. So we would look at whether we can modify her current class description, or whether, with the added duties that she's performing, she would she would fall under the scope of duties of a different existing classification, or just generate or create a brand new classification. And so, yeah, my process would be to meet with Miss Ferguson several times, check in with her at different points. For example, in the month where her duties will vary, to get me a good, clear picture of what she's doing. I also always check in with supervisors, just to ensure that I'm getting a good, view of like everything that's being done. Although really I work, very closely and more directly with the employee themselves. And then at that point, Izzy, all of those things would be considered. And then finally, in the last piece would be that salary study. But that would be more based on what the outcome is, whether she is reclassifying into a brand new position where we have to conduct a brand new salary study, or whether it's an existing classification.
Great. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from commissioners regarding this item?
No, I'll look forward to hearing more.
All righty, then we'll turn to our next item, and thank you for being present as well. We'll turn to our next item, 8B, which is the beginning preliminary conversation about the Personnel Commission budget. I'll turn it over to Karen.
Yes, so this is just a preliminary discussion for the 26-27 Personnel Commission budget. As we all know, the Ed Code requirements are that the PC must approve its budget by May 30th. So this is not a first reading. It's just an initial discussion to begin reviewing projected expenses and potential considerations for, our upcoming budget approval. So unfortunately, I was unable to include the reports that I have brought forward today in time for to be included in the at the time when we were posting the agenda, but I have brought copies and we will be posting them online as well with the agenda. But as you can see, I've included 2 attachments. One is just a preliminary overview of our current budget. There are some fields there that are blank that I could not get numbers for just yet. And then also I've included just the budget report that I did receive that kind of helped me plug in these numbers to our draft. So Brian, if you can just, yeah, pull that item up. So it is color coded because our staffing, we have had a couple of staffing changes. And so the gray represents our previous staffing positions, like, and then because a couple years ago, they were, our staff was kind of set up a little bit differently. And so, but we look back typically 2 years. So I wanted to include that information there too. And then the green would be our current staffing model. I wanted to get year-to-date numbers, but I wasn't able to get that accurately yet from business services. So I do plan on bringing those numbers forward. I also incorporated the raises for the BCCE positions. And
oh, so this does include, so the total salary request 701 number, that includes the most recent contract that was just voted on?
yeah,
That was my other question. Great.
I am wondering,
yes,
the report that you got, which I see has a run date of March 16th. Are these actuals through 2/28 or through 1/31?
228.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Aaron, do you have more?
I don't have a lot because I got these reports really late last
Yeah,
week,
no worries.
so
Well, I
I
have a
haven't been
couple,
able to really come up with, but yeah, I kind of just wanted to open the discussion
Yeah.
to you all today and just to see what it is that you want me to bring forward. What I'm hoping is that we can work this month on drafting or coming up with a first draft.
Mhm.
Ideally at our next meeting. And then for the first reading, and then for our second meeting, in our second reading would be in May, second reading and approval.
So I had one thing, which is I noticed that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories that we're currently at 0 for this fiscal year. Which doesn't mean we're going to stay at 0 necessarily, particularly I think, and particularly for dues and memberships, oh, is that, no, that was the wrong one. No, that is not.
So I know what you're talking about, so.
Yeah, so books and other reference material, central printing, Xerox, copier lease, postage, and legal counsel. We haven't spent any this year. That doesn't mean we're not going to, and obviously budgets are projections, right? So some years are going to be higher, some years are going to be lower.
Right.
But I think my initial thought was that those are areas where we could look to try and shave a little,
So my understanding is some of those are numbers that actually will get assigned to us, like copier lease, central
Okay.
printing. Aaron, remind me, over the years,
So
what
the
else gets
central
assigned to us?
printing, copier lease and the postage line items, those we do not have control over.
but the district just tells us how much we're gonna spend on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or what's a portion to
What's
us,
the portion to it?
our
What our
share
cost is. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So then that would leave books, equipment, and legal counsel as the ones where we have currently.
Zero.
Should we talk about how legal counsel has worked in the past?
Yeah.
Maybe that's something
Yeah.
you haven't encountered.
Right, so, it was our understanding that the personnel commission isn't responsible to pay for legal fees. But we were asked to include a line for legal fees as kind of like a tracking mechanism for business services so that they can track you know,
Okay.
we are using. frequently.
And depending on really what goes on in a year,
Right,
you know,
it can
that
be-
can be very,
I'm from the rent board, very familiar.
Yeah.
We were looking at like $250,000 a year legal fees right now.
I don't think we're gonna have that.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so then, go ahead, Commissioner Roder.
Okay, thank you. Well, like you, Mr. Chairman, I am looking to if there are any areas that are either a question or possibly a cost savings. And so my first question, and I think this is an area that Aaron should be able to answer. And that's like the very first item, the executive director salary. I guess I just would like a bit of an explanation in 24, you know, and it may be that in the 24, 25 time period, you know, we did have turnover in the executive director position, and different prior executive director may have made more in salary and been at a higher step than current executive director. But Aaron, could you please just explain the three columns fiscal year 24, 25 at 285,355, then 25, 26 went down substantially to 258,859, and then fiscal year 2026, 27 goes back up to 290,274. So can you explain those three columns?
Sure. So, so Izzy, you're right in that, the transition between the previous director and myself, that brought down that salary amount, for fiscal year 25, 26. And so that's reflected in that budget. As far as next year's budget, those are numbers that I get from business services. So I believe that they incorporate step advance perhaps. I don't have control over the projected staffing numbers. Those are provided to us.
Oh, so this last column right now is finance numbers.
Yeah, so the last column, those are all given to me from business services. And they incorporate like step advances, and the increases to the fringe benefits and raises as well, like
And I would argue maybe that the reason these numbers have increased so much is, I know that part of the new contract includes 100% medical coverage now
well, for BCC.
for BCC.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the question was going to be, is that being projected for other staff as well, or no?
So that was one question I didn't ask business services, if they are including, because usually there is an alignment when,
Unwrapping.
you know, but I don't know what, you know, for example, in my case, I'm on rep management, so I don't know if they're.
The unwrap manual.
Yeah,
Cause it's a big jump,
Mhm.
I know.
you know, it's
I know.
a 12% jump.
I didn't see
And
that.
it's hard for me to figure out what's in there also, so
Yeah.
maybe we
Yeah,
can
I
ask
will definitely
finance
get
for,
some
you
more.
know, what they put in those numbers.
Yeah,
So,
Go ahead.
follow-up question. So traditionally, it's been my understanding that unrepresented management, such as Aaron, follows along with the raises provided in the contract. And I guess in this case, it would be BCCE. So number one, Aaron, is my recollection true that in the past, that's pretty much been the case. And then secondly, is that the case? And this, I think, is the same question as Heidi was asking, but is that the case in this $290,000 figure, that it's following the contract again, I'm not sure which contract, but let's say it's the BCCE contract as far as a raise is concerned. And then secondly, and I saw that Alex Balat was on the call previously, but I don't see him now. I'm curious about in this fiscal environment for the next budgetary year, are other directors, executive directors, assistant superintendents, associate superintendents, are they also the unrepresented management getting the same raise, scheduled to get the same raise that other on a percentage basis that other BCCE members are getting? So I don't know if I made my questions clear enough, Aaron, but
Yeah, you did. We don't have that information yet, Izzy. Usually, unrep management will piggyback off local 21.
21, okay.
Local 21, at least I know confidential and unrep managers have in the past, but I don't know what the district is planning to do with those unrep employees this next year. Maybe Colin is wanting to about that plan for next year. I'm not sure, but I know typically unrep managers have piggybacked off local 21.
I don't know what the district plans on doing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's for me anyway, a very important question that we need to have answered for the next go round.
Yes, I can definitely get clarity on that number and
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that, if I'm understanding this correctly, is that not going to necessarily get all the terminology correct, but previously the human resources technician has been at 1 FTE. And you, Aaron, are proposing, and to some extent it's already been done, that the new human resources tech be at half an FTE, and then the other half of her FTE salary would be paid by human resources. So question number one, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then you are proposing an increase in our other currently half-time human resources tech from 0.5 to 0.73. And then the same is true for our administrative assistant 3 going from 0.5 to 0.73. That's my understanding. So basically, it's kind of a wash in terms of overall FTE. There isn't a reduction in FTE, except for maybe by 0.2 or something like that. But there isn't an increase either. And I guess I am wondering, and you don't need to answer it right now, but at least for the next meeting, precisely the rationale for increasing both the tech position and the administrative assistant 3 to 0.73. So that's the question.
Okay, Izzy, I will work on getting you answers to that.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Let's do commissioners and then we'll come back to the public, and then because I have a couple things I want to ask about. The legal counsel. I understand the district is telling us the district is paying, but we're putting in our budgeting purposes. That doesn't mean we couldn't have a lower number necessarily. If I would love to hear about historically what our actuals have been on legal counsel, maybe we can bring it from 9 to 6, or I don't know. What is a projection?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the last 2 years and the actuals. I know they have not come up to that 9,000 amount. So
And then likewise for equipment, if we can, that seems like a category where we could defer some purchases or something like that. I know you said that we've had a couple purchases we've just made, but that's for this year's budget. But if we can, again, trim that down a little bit, that would be something I'd look at. And then the other one that I think is possible is travel, conference, professional development.
Yeah.
So, we were all just talking about the trip we took to the conference, and it's a good thing, and I think it's a useful thing. But I would suggest maybe for next year, we decide that we're just gonna send Aaron. The commissioners will elect not to attend. And that way we can have one fare and registration and hotel costs instead of 3 or 4.
Yeah, so to speak to that, we can definitely look at the number. I know last year we had proposed trimming that amount. But then when we made the reductions to the position and the staff, then we came back up to our original numbers. We can definitely look at that. That also though includes PD for our current staff. And so this year, we are gonna come close to the full amount because not only for the conference really, but like all of our staff got to participate in the CSPCA personnel analyst training. So we signed them all up and it's been a great training, first of its kind. So that's also why that number went up this year, but we can definitely revisit that. And then also just for example, obviously under the other items, if you look at the total there in the middle, the 39,000 versus what we've spent so far, which is only 8.
I'm sorry, which line are you on?
Sorry, it's the section below the salary section.
Total other items.
Yeah. Just want to keep in mind that not all of the travel and conference numbers have been updated there. And then we also use that for commissioner reimbursements for equipment and then our classified recognition event. So none of those things haven't been accounted for just yet. So they haven't been added yet.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
I see a couple things are in yellow highlight. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, so the first yellow highlighted item is our phones that I'm proposing bringing down the number. So that's one proposal there. We really don't need that full 2,000 amount.
I see 1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's.
It was
for-
2,000
as
last year,
opposed to
1,000
last
this year.
year.
Oh, I see.
The other,
Oh, I see. The 1,000 is your proposed
Yeah.
number. So anything is yellow highlighted, you changed what
Yeah.
business services put in.
so the other amount is interesting and it looks like I'm asking for a lot more, but the pre-employment physicals, we are actually already in the red there. So we had requested 8,000. We're up now by, this is end of February, almost $12,000 that we've been spending in pre-employment physicals. I know this is all due to all of the hiring we've been doing.
Right.
And so I just kind of, forecasted what if we keep this momentum and what that number is gonna look like next year. And that alone is gonna bring us back up to close to 18,000.
So those 47, vacant
Yeah.
positions are kind of what you're feeding into here.
Yeah. And just the other turnover we have, with all our other positions. And
Okay.
so, that is just something that I'm a little concerned about because it looks like we're overspending, but this is not a number we can control. This is pre-employment physical. So,
Mhm.
so I don't see how we can keep that number where it's at now.
A different question I have, Erin, I don't understand your schema of gray and green here. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to take one as an example and see if you can explain it to me again, so I understand it. So let's go 1, 2, third down, fourth down. The human resources tech, it's a gray line. It's a 1.0 FTE and it's got an entry under 2025-26. And then there is a green entry at 0.5 and a gray entry at 0.5 for the same position. And they both also have entries in different places. One, the first green entry doesn't have anything for 25-26, but it does have something for 26-27. And the gray entry has an entry for 25-26. So, I know Commissioner Roder understood it because he said he thought it represented a split with HR, but I don't really understand how to interpret that from what I
Yeah,
see here.
sorry, there was like no, I was trying to figure out the clearest way to represent this, but we, essentially, the grays are what our staffing model looked like. You know, last year and the beginning of this year, but
Mhm.
because we changed the FTE for staff. So, you know, the 1.0 HR tech position that I'll just put, that Brian was in,
Mhm.
became vacant. We brought that down to a 0.5. And then we raised the position that Olga and Sarah were in. And so then I'm reflecting those updates with the greens. So the greens are the current staffing, where the gray is the old staffing.
So when I look under the column 25-26, I see an entry for your position.
Yeah,
I see nothing for the classified personal analyst because we don't have that position
right.
anymore. I see nothing, I see a gray entry, but I'm not paying attention to that, right? Because that doesn't reflect this year. I don't see anything for the human resources tech. I see only a green entry for the 0.73 admin assistant 3. So I don't see enough entries that reflect our people for this year, and that's why I'm having trouble reading this and understanding how to follow it.
You know what, Heidi, you're right, in that the green should not show the old numbers. I mean, the previous year's numbers, since I'm showing it as a new position almost, and that's not. So that.
Am I reading the green in the final column, the 26-27? Is that where I'm seeing what our current staffing is?
Yes,
Okay,
or what it would be next year.
all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So, I know you all will be working on that. And I would just ask, I need a different schema to
Yeah.
have this make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand it enough that I'm happy, but not enough that I understand
know.
it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, because the other option would be just to show currently what our staffing model looks and reflect that. But then it's gonna look so different from last year, and it's not gonna explain.
I realize, and it's hard with budget transparency, you know, so I mean, what I know is we all know the story. We know who works here. We're not that big a department. We understand that. But for someone who is not as familiar with what we do, and to Paula's comment earlier, we have a citizens committee that needs a lot of education about how we operate.
Yeah,
This is not gonna help them,
yeah.
so.
I think what I'll do is just keep the current staffing model, those lines, so basically essentially like the green lines. And then I'll just include the numbers from the previous last years, but I'll make sure to note what positions have changed.
Yeah, I mean, we can always have a footnote
Yeah.
or something, you know, and I get it, stuff
Yeah.
like this happens all the
And
time.
I just got this like last, right?
Okay, all right,
I was just trying to figure out how to reflect everything. It's not a draft, so.
right, no, it's, you know, very preliminary. Okay, thank you, I just wanted to
Yeah.
try to understand. Okay, thank you.
I'll ask Aaron, yeah, well, Aaron and then Izzy, and then we'll go to the public comment. Are there any other places that you think that we could look to that we haven't talked about yet for cuts?
So. What I'm hoping to do is get a better picture of the actuals for last year. Cause that will be very telling.
Yeah.
So when I get the actuals from last year. And we always come under.
Mhm.
So I think, once I get those, I can highlight where I do think we could make cuts, but I mean, pretty much. You know, the travel conference PD. Other supplies, equipment. And then. Where we're looking at now, the professional consulting and operating. We're running really close there, because every year. Those vendors are raising their
Mhm.
prices, you know, so. YoGov used to charge us $11,000, now it's almost 16,000.
Mhm.
So like every year we're getting more, and you know, everything's, the cost is coming up to those, and so those kind of reflect. Like pretty firm numbers, but again, I can pull the actuals.
This might be a totally outrageous question. Have we considered asking these vendors to reduce our rates?
I just did with yoga, I tried.
Like, I mean, because they're, it's like, should not the budget crisis, the public school space be shared by the private companies, benefit?
Yeah,
So
I,
I don't know if it's worthwhile for us to ask them to say, hey, we are making cuts and can you give us a discount for this year or whatever?
I definitely tried. I tried with yoga for next year and they basically were like, if you want us to cut our service, we'll cut our service. Like I didn't get very far there, but.
Maybe
that's
we
like
should
the cost.
get a bunch of different districts to email them together and say, hey, we're gonna unionize the district.
Right.
You know, a different comment I'll make, and it's sort of to your point, which I think is right, is if right now this is showing us through the end of February, right? We've got March, April, May, June, this is really 2/3 of the budget year run rate that you're seeing.
Yeah.
What we know normally happens, and it's interesting because I don't actually see it this year for the first time. Often, the adopted budget is not exactly the budget that we've passed. Okay, that's the first thing, so you actually need to compare it to a different budget document, which is this one that describes, for 25-26, what did we pass? So if you look, you'll see it's 783 and change, which you'll see here in the terms of the overall adopted budget is a different number. The very bottom line comes to 715, 768. All right, and that's a typical thing that business services does, and I've never really understood why, but they shave some right off the top. The second thing that you'll see is, I guess it's with the March or the April, they impound the remaining budget dollars. Okay, so the end of year budget winds up not resembling, I mean, you have to do a little bit of work to translate what we actually passed versus what the district adopted and then revised. We have this new revised budget, revised of the adopted column, which is sort of the new thing that I'm seeing.
Revised of the adopted, which is like 90%.
Which is 90%, right, of the other. So there's a lot of translation that you need to go through here.
Yeah.
So the important learning of this is our budget said for 25-26, 783 and change, right? The district's budget never said nearly that amount, and the end spend won't be that amount. So,
yeah,
as you are working on budgeting,
but to the extent that that's true for every department,
it isn't clear to me if it's true for every department. I know it's true for my department because I can see it.
Right.
I don't know that we've ever asked or gotten real clarification that this happens exactly the same way for everyone else.
I think it would be good for us to, and Izzy, thank you for your patience. I'll go to you just after that. If we can ask them in writing what it is, the reason that we had this 90% number.
Like the adopted.
Why the adopted is not the actual, and whether that's just for us or whether that's standard for all departments. Izzy, go ahead, Commissioner Roder.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to provide what I think is a little additional clarification on the legal counsel item, $9,000. And that is my understanding of how this is supposed to work is that the Ed Code says that legal fees for the Personnel Commission will be paid for by the district. And that we, the Personnel Commission, will utilize the district's attorney for our legal questions, legal issues. Now, when I was a newcomer at that time, and Heidi will recall it more clearly, but when I first joined the commission, we had an issue. I don't remember the details of it, but we had an issue where what we felt the right way of handling an issue was differed from the way that the district was handling that same issue. And we initially were represented by the district's attorney on that. And it became obvious to the commissioners and also obvious to the attorney for the district that there was a conflict of interest. And because we didn't agree. And the Ed Code says if there is a conflict of interest, then the commission can hire its own attorney, which is what we did. And as I understand it, as years progressed, the district, and this part I'm less certain about, but the district felt that it was better for the Personnel Commission to utilize its own attorney. And we would pay extra for it, and it would be in our budget, which of course ultimately is paid for by the district, rather than using the district's attorney. So maybe that's an area to revisit, that perhaps at this point, maybe we don't feel we have so many disagreements with the district, and that conceivably we could go back to the fallback position of the Ed Code, which is the Personnel Commission uses the district's attorney. And it's only when there's an actual conflict that we have our own attorney, in which case that line item can go from $9,000 to zero, which of course it is right now in terms of what we've spent to date, which is zero.
Would we still be
Food
in
for
that
thought,
situation? Would we
something
still,
to think about.
in that situation, would we still be able to talk to Christine or through our membership in
CSPC.
CSPCA, or is that paid for out of the 9,000?
So, I mean, surprisingly, the conversations we've had with Christine, we have not been charged for those.
Oh, okay.
So they've been on the house.
I'm not gonna look a gift horse from out.
Yeah, it might be because she's, still consulting and we
Okay.
haven't actually engaged,
So that zero could go up
it
if,
could go on.
yeah, okay.
So
I'll just-
Cindy, for your information, then, if we had a question under a different system, we would
Yes.
consult with the attorney for the district and
Right.
ask that attorney for advice on whatever we were, so long as what we were asking about didn't constitute an actual conflict with the district. But maybe the district doesn't want to handle it that way, and that's fine. There are a few considerations.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna bring one other dimension of budget season in here that Erin knows to watch out for, but you as the chair, this may be a new thing, so I'll just point out as an example. I'm looking at the thing that we got from Business Services through February 28th, and I'm gonna bring your attention to the line called Professional Consulting Services and Operating Expenses. And it's a 50,000 and change adopted budget number.
which number can you,
So, it's about 2/3 of the way down.
on this one?
No, no. Look here. Okay,
Okay, gotcha.
all right. So, and then you find the corresponding on, our budget. What you see is there's an order of magnitude difference in these numbers. And what we've observed over the years is Business Services sometimes uses our budget to park other money.
Oh,
And it distorts what's going on. It's hard for us to understand, what is happening. Because if all you do is look at the bottom line, you say, oh, it's close enough, things are fine.
right.
But the truth is actually not. And this is an example of why this is a practice that I really wish Business Services wouldn't do to us. I wish they'd find somebody else's budget to park stuff in. For our general expenses, right, that we define on our single sheet budget, if we've got, $45,000 parked from somewhere else and we're still below our number, it means 45,000 of other stuff that we said we needed got taken out somewhere else.
Right.
So the deciphering of what has actually happened is not simple.
Yeah,
Here.
so I think to that point,
Okay.
I think it would be good if we can send a written communication to the business services, and you should CC me asking about both the 90%, why the bottom line figure is different between our adopted and what they're presenting as, well, our actual adopted, what they're presenting as our adopted, and then also what this 50,000 is in professional consulting. And get an answer and then probably ask them to stop. Unless there's a good reason that they shouldn't.
I would give that same rigor. I would look
Yeah,
at every line item if I were you.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I just took a quick look here because I sort of know some of the places we've
People
seen
hide.
stuff parked in, before.
all right, well, let's, I'm gonna go open it up for public comment again. So go ahead, Paula, and then also if any members of the public would like to give comment online, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll turn to you as well.
So I was looking at the budget and I noticed that the line 5,200 for travel and conferences, there was revised budget. And that change is in the amount of $2,500 that's not reflected anywhere in here. For your fiscal year budget for 25-26. So that's the discrepancy that I see, that's a major concern. And then also I want to address the shift of dual adder positions. And if I'm understanding your budget correctly, I see that the personnel director's salary is partially funded by HR. Is that the case?
No,
So the 7,403, what does that represent?
That's our budget.
Okay, and the 2,302, is that Bear?
No, so 2302 and 743 are all part of the same budget.
They're all part
It's
of
just
the budget.
distinguishing the difference between, like I'm 2302, staff is 20,
Okay.
some of them are 2402. Where it comes out of based on how business services, what the
Okay.
numbers are used.
But you are talking about splitting the budget, splitting the salaries of your staff, partially funded by the district and partially funded by the commission.
so it's not it's not cost that was previously with us that is moving to HR. It's that we're hiring someone into a position that we're having, it's half time with us. And then she's additionally serving half-time with HR. So it's an HR position that has been vacant within HR.
So in a sense, you're creating dual hatter positions within the personnel commission. And when
No, I think what we're saying is we're hiring somebody halftime who has a different halftime role in HR. Our goal is not to have to dual hatter,
that's what your goal is.
but I think this is why I asked Erin about how this was presented. Because she's trying to show what changed in this year.
Okay. Which is why.
It's confusing.
So
Yeah.
It's two different positions, so it's two different positions. One that reports to PC, one that reports to HR.
And the commission, and so the work that a person does, how does that look like in a day for that person?
So in a day, there's a day that's assigned to HR and then a day that's assigned to PC. Different sites and different,
And then the last day is split how?
50-50.
Oh, literally like run from this office, run to that office kind of thing?
That day, they are just working in one location, but morning hours to HR. morning
Okay, kind of
hours
on your honor
afternoon hours,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Paula, what I'd also comment, I just want to make sure I'm following you. You're looking at the document that came from finance, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at this column called revised budget, which is a new column to me. As well, this is not,
I mean, it's not.
This is not ours,
in
right.
District finances.
I can speak to that.
okay, all right, I didn't know if we had insight.
Yeah, so so we did a budget transfer, 2,500 from 4350. So if you look, and it looks like even more was taken out, but you see how in 4350 it's 14,600, and then the revised budget is 10,000. So we did a budget transfer of 25 from that line to that line to account for what we project are gonna be the conference and PD fees.
I see, so.
Yeah. But it looks like more was taken out even, so.
And where did
I'm not
other
sure.
money go?
Yeah, I don't, that's what I don't know.
Well, and you see in the bottom line, they're different sums.
There's,
And then I see 1350 amount transferred over from, right below that 4,400 budget. Divided by the 1350, so
where,
the 3,000 down to 1350,
where, Paul?
right below 4350.
Right, like
Equipment.
4400.
Yeah.
They did a, so from what I understood, there was a sweep that took place. And I can get more clarity from Ben on this, but there were monies that were taken out of our budget. And this is what's being shown, so.
You know what might be helpful?
Yeah,
I don't want to make this an awful exercise or any harder than it is. But when we finally get to the point where we're getting the summary, the close before encumbrance happen, it would be good to have a way, and I don't know if you just flag it with highlighted or what have you. If we still have this revised budget column, yellow highlight for changes we made, blue highlight for
Yeah.
changes finance made, is something that just kind of helps us understand,
Yeah.
the changes we know and the changes we don't.
right.
All right. Are there any other public comment from online? All right, seeing none. It's been a very good discussion preliminarily on the budget. We have some work to do. Anything else from you? Oh, Mildred has her hand up. Go ahead, Mildred. And I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Sorry. I have another meeting I have to jump into, so I probably will not even be able to make public comments. And I know that I missed union comments, so that's fine. But due to the Brown Act, and so I don't know what can happen and what cannot happen, but I was hoping that there is a way where the union would be able to meet with the commission to have a conversation.
Yeah.
That it's a
I can
conversation
suggest
that,
that-
let me finish real quick, because I want you to hear
Go
what I need to say. It's a conversation that needs to happen, but not in the public forum. And it's regarding some some things that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, so I would suggest Aaron and I can set up a time to meet with you and whoever else offline.
Okay, but I think it needs to be the whole commission.
Well, it can't be the whole commission.
Oh, it can't? Okay, because of the Brown Act, that's why I wanted to ask. Okay,
Yeah, so
all right.
So Aaron and I can meet with you, and then we can go from there.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. I appreciate. Hi, everyone. Bye.
All right.
All right. Any other hands from the public? Or any other final thoughts from commissioners or staff? All right, in that case, we can head over to, we have our last public comment period. So if there's any general public comment on anything on the agenda or not on the agenda that has not already come up. But seeing no hands in person or online, we'll turn to our scheduling of the next meeting. So next meeting would normally be on the 29th.
Yeah.
April 29th. Is there any conflict from either commissioners on that date?
Good.
And we will be here again at 4:30.
It's actually the boardroom.
Oh, the boardroom, okay. So the boardroom, 4:30, April 29th. All good for staff and commissioners. I'm seeing yeses, so that will be our time. And lastly, is there a motion to adjourn?
Sure. I'll motion. It's 1:50 p.m.
Is there a
Agree.
second? All right, can we have roll call?
Sure. Chairperson Alpert.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Roder
Yes?
and Commissioner Goldstein.
All right.
All right, we are adjourned. There you go, good discussion.